all you sinners and saints out there. It's TJ here, Pastor Tom, the MotorSage. Just sitting here thinking about a car show we went to last week. My wife and I went out in the cool of the morning before the heat come up in the day, and we decided to start with the best cars in the show and work our way down to what appeared to be the streetable models that people drove around for everyday vehicles. And it was an interesting time, and we did get through most of the cars. Pay attention here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Not surprisingly, one of the first places we stopped at during that car show was to look at the Mustangs. I used to drive Mustang, several of them in fact, and wanted to take a close look. There was I guess about 3 or 4 of them there that were owned by a person who had been a plant manager at a local engine factory for Cummins diesels. And they were quite a collection, so I had been told about them and wanted to make it a point to stop in and see them amongst the other vehicles that would be there in the show. So come along with me as I take you through the stable and then on to what I think was a real good car. The first Mustang that caught my eye was a 72 Mach 1. Not too much unlike my 73 Mach 1, which I had many years ago, but except that this one had a much bigger engine. I had a 351 Windsor, and this was equipped with a 429, so it was a bit more power. Right next to it was a 1970 428 4-barrel. 428 and 429 were not the same engine. To be sure, the 428 was the big block which stemmed out of the 352 cubic inch engine that was put in Mustangs clear back in 1968, I believe, or 67 in that year. Had a real nice blue paint job on this one. The white interior, I imagine, when it was sat on for a while. Well, it was a 429, not a 428. And here is a real favorite, the Boss 302 with a fantastic orange paint job that looks like the original color, complete with wing on the deck. Very pretty automobile, and very quick for a cubic inch size. Boss 302 is the founder of the engines that we have today, even in the Mustang, the 302s. 5-liter, as we call them. Another one with that clear white, clean white interior. And here's the modern version of the 5-liter in the Mustangs. Quite a powerhouse, a lot more power than the original 302 V8 that was had it started as a 260 cubic inch engine back in 1966, I believe, and then went to 289, then the 302. And then into the high performance 302s. Here's one of my favorites because I owned one of these 1969 Mach 1s with the 428 4-barrel. Had a Holley 4-barrel on it. And it was quite an automobile. had all kinds of performance, but the traction wasn't up to it. You'd kick it into high gear and those back tires would just break loose. Yep, Cobra Jet. They had a very odd distributor with a dual vacuum advance, and a retard. In the show there was a lot of nice cars. In particular, this one caught my eye because of the paint color. Whoever did the paint work on it really did a fine job. The owner made the statement that he did most of the work himself. Had a 318 V8 in it, I believe, but was very dressed out, extremely nice. The car caught my eye, even though I'm not a Mopar specialist or aficionado, as you might say. But this one was really pretty. Reminded me back in the days when my brother-in-law had one of these. But his was a 440 Magnum. Right next to it sat another car. It was a big old Dodge with the 440 Magnum in it, and quite a powerhouse. Engine, I just started its roots in a 413, I believe, and then grew to 440 cubic inches, and don't know exactly how many horsepower it generated, but one of its competitors was the 426 Hemi. Now down the line, one of my sweetheart oldies is a 1940 Ford. Beautiful old car with a flathead V8. A Chevy with a 396 cubic inch engine, and most likely coupled with a wonderful 4-speed. I'm going to take a guess that this is probably about a 1968. And here back in, we go to about a 1963. A 67 or 68 Mustang. And this looks like about a 1962 or 3 with the Hemi. The old 426 workhorse produced a lot of power. It was the torque engine of the time. A lot of big cubic inch engines came in regular, everyday looking automobiles. This 62 Ford convertible might have come equipped with a 406 cubic inch engine. Was the outsized 390 cube, and came equipped with 3 2-barrel carburetors and progressive linkage. Quite a powerhouse. That engine eventually found its way up to be 427 cubic inches. And here's the Edsel. My brother-in-law liked the Edsels. One of the favorites I would mind owning myself is this Chevrolet. I just absolutely found it to be beautiful. Oldsmobile in 1969 came out with the W30 package. I believe it was a 350 cubic inch engine with the 4-barrel and high performance that put out by Hearst and Oldsmobile. Hearst, the maker of 4-speed shifters and so forth. Very odd thing was the windshield washer or windshield wiper motor. The windshield washer pump went on top of the wiper motor and had to be indexed with the cotter pit when you put the windshield washer, mounted it on the wiper motor. Otherwise it wouldn't work right. Had a distinctive wing. And here was the big muscle guy, Dodge Diesel. Looked like it had one of the earlier 6-cylinder diesel, was turbocharged. I don't believe they come offered in the Dodge diesel trucks anymore. I think they went with the Cummins V8. Now this is my idea of a hot rod. This is about a 1937, I believe, or maybe 35. Hot rod with Nerf hood and big old steering wheel. This is a true hot rod that was run around when I was a kid. And it had a paint job that included the pinstriping. Had a friend of mine that used to do that work. Very painstaking artistry, that is. Here's that Chevrolet. Sweet. Interior nice and clean. And here comes one of my favorites, the box truck, as I call it. They're shaped like a box. The Chevrolet pickup truck's very popular, and in our area, hard to keep rust away from. And here comes the pride of my show, the old rat rod. This is what hot rods used to look like. The cars in this show kind of remind me of the biblical days when Jesus was walking the face of the earth. You see, there were the fancy persons that were priests of the temple, all dressed out in a high polish, and thought they ruled the show. But out of the back country comes sort of a hillbilly preacher named Jesus. And I guess he looked a bit like these rat rods. But the words that he spoke rang true. See, they didn't know it at the time, or didn't want to recognize it, that Jesus was fully man, but he was also fully God. And that was just a thought that they couldn't comprehend, that Jesus was the Messiah, the deliverer, who would preach and teach. And then to save us from our sins, he went to the cross and died. But that wasn't the end of things. He rose again, just like that rat rod in that car show. He pops up in the spirit again and again, and the lives of Christians all over the world.